Hello and welcome to Science Talk. I am your host, Jim Massa. I want to discuss with you two recent re- reports published discussing what's happening um, with Antarctica. And basically, as we have discussed numerous times on this channel, the Antarctica is melting, and the melting, the studies are finding are speeding up. So this is of great concern. So the warming that's taking place in Antarctica is accelerating. At least one of the southern continent's ice shelves has been melting faster than ever. During the polar summer of 2019 to 2020, a new record for temperature above the freezing point was set. And this was over the George VI ice shelf off the Antarctic Peninsula. Now, these ice shelves basically form a natural buttress that slows the rate of glacial flow from the continental bedrock. Without these buttresses, these glaciers will flow faster into the sea. And if they're flowing faster into the sea, you increase the risk of higher sea level rise. Second study confirms that this is happening, and it's already happening in the West Antarctica. Researchers looked at 25 years of satellite observations of 14 glaciers in the Getz sector, and they found that meltwater is flowing into the Amundsen Sea ever faster. Between 1994 and 2018, these glaciers lost 315 billion, would it be, tons of ice, which is enough to raise global sea levels by almost 1 millimeter. May not sound like much, but considering how much ice is there, considering the surface area of the globe, and that's not an insignificant contribution. Melting rates in Antarctica have been a source of concern for quite some time, quite a few years, and the latest studies confirm this continuing melt that is taking place. So, a team of scientists from the U.S. report in the journal The Cryosphere that, based on satellite observations that they sell themselves of, 41 years of satellite data, and they measured the summer meltwater on the ice and in the near surface snow of the northern part of the Georgia 6 ice shelf. They identified the most widespread melt and the greatest total of melt days of any season during the 2019-2020 summer. Air temperatures were above freezing for up to 90 hours, which allowed pools of meltwater to collect on the shelf. At its peak, 23% of the region was covered with water. 23%, that's almost basically one-fourth, is covered in water. When a temperature is above freezing, 0 Celsius, that limits refreezing and then leads to further melting. That's a statement by Allison Banwell, the University of Colorado at Boulder. She was also the PI. Water absorbs more radiation than snow and ice, and that leads to even more melting. Translation, there's very little albedo. So it's going to absorb the sun energy as opposed to snow and ice reflecting the sun energy. The Getz Shelf is one of the biggest of a sector of the West Antarctic known as Marie Byrd's Land. Another report in Nature Communications confirms that all 14 measured glaciers located there have picked up speed and reached the ocean ever faster. 3 of them have accelerated by more than 44%. And over the years, the loss of ice has been the equivalent of 126. For some reason, researchers like to put it in these terms here. 126 million Olympic swimming pools, which is now, of course, contributing to global sea level rise. The Getz region of Antarctica is so remote that humans have never set foot on most of that part of the continent, said Heather Selly of the University of Leeds in the UK, who is the lead author. Satellite radar altimetry records have shown substantial thinning of the ice sheet. However, the high rates of increased glacial speed coupled with ice thinning now confirm the Getz Basin is in dynamic imbalance, meaning that it is losing more ice than it gains through snowfall. This is a concept I have discussed several times before, that if the melt is faster than what can be replenished by snowfall, and then the snowfall be compacted, compressed into ice, etc., then there's a situation where we have an imbalance where you're going to have a net loss of snow and ice. Meaning, if this trend continues, eventually all the ice will be lost. So there are sections now in Antarctica. The section has been hard to reach, hard to study, and is now also there being confirmed that is showing increased melting of the ice, increased meltwater, increased glacial flow, and just like we've covered with Pine Island at Thwaites Glacier, as well as the Brunt Ice Shelf, there, and of course the Ross Ice Shelf, we all know about those places. We are seeing more and more melting taking place at an accelerated rate, and that's the key point, the rate of change on Antarctica, which does not, of course, bode well. So just a quick summation of a couple of studies and their findings. Thank you for your time. Hello, folks. This is Jim here with Science Talk, asking you to please subscribe to my channel and to inform others of my channel and of the work that I do. Please share to social media platforms that you use. Also, as a reminder, don't forget to click the bell so that you know when I load up more videos. Finally, I ask that you support the work that I do by becoming a patron at patreon.com. Details in the description box below. Thank you for your support.